Hi, everyone. This is Klank from Citywide Title on the Eat and Drink Real Estate Podcast. I have Celeste Barr with Exp Realty here today, and we are very excited to have you. Thank you for coming. How are you?
I'm doing great. Now, Celeste, it's been a great year.
It has been.
Yes.
A challenge for some.
Yeah.
A lot of people have questions what's happening out in the marketplace. A lot of people have concerns. A lot of people are reaching out to real estate professionals like yourself. Now, Celeste, how long have you been in real estate?
I've been licensed since 1985, but I got into residential in 89. So I've seen it coming off of double digits, and now where we are today, this is normal to me. I'm used to the numbers that are a little on the higher side.
Yeah, me too. My first home was about 8.25%, but not as crazy as some in the early 80s, where we saw 16s and even some a little bit higher.
Exactly.
And it was after that they invented the one-year arm to help people buy homes, and we see a lot of people utilizing those tools today. You know, what is, I think a lot of questions that are being asked out there today, especially by homeowners, is right now a good time to sell your home?
I have that question asked to me all the time. And every time I have somebody ask me that question, I think to myself, what is it that they're really looking for? And what they're looking for is an assurance. If I sell my house today, I'm not losing any money, or I'm not giving away something that I shouldn't have. And here's the thing we know. We know what the market looks like today. So if someone asks that question, the first thought I have is, we know what today looks like. Today is a great day to be selling. If you've got the opportunity and you're not this whole idea of selling is not necessarily predicated on you finding another home. This is an ideal time to be selling. However, there are a lot of homeowners that are in a position where they have to buy a home as well. So we have that kind of conversation about how do we make that happen. And of course, before you put your home on the market, before that sign goes in the ground, I tell people you've got to have that conversation with an experienced realtor, because just because someone says that they can sell your house doesn't mean that they're educated enough to understand what it takes. And sometimes there's a lot more questions involved of, do you know where you're going next? Can you qualify for that mortgage? If that is your next choice. So is this a good time to sell? You got to ask me directly. It's all about your set of circumstances.
Everyone's a little bit different, but you need to consult with someone who's a professional, who's got the depth of experience like you to get those questions answered properly the first time. And I think that's so important. People stress out over the things that they don't know. And when it comes to something as important as selling their home, they have to consult with a professional, or they'll just still be guessing. Or getting Google search results, which aren't always the most accurate.
No, and yet the other thing is I hear, you're hearing stories of people who are making decisions about selling their home, and maybe they're working with someone that was an inexperienced realtor. And unfortunately, they didn't have good advice. They went through the process, and they're a week away from closing, and they can't find or buy the next home. And they're panicked. And I can't tell you enough how awful that situation is. So that's why I'm always telling people, before you make any commitment to anything, let's create the entire plan. What is your entire plan? Because some of it could be just as simple as, are you ready? Some people are not ready to sell. And it's just that simple. It could be that they have a whole household full of stuff that they have to get rid of. And by the way, that's another one that when people talk to me about, well, how long does it take to get my home on the market? My first thought is, how much time do you think you're going to need to get rid of all your junk?
Right. We do tend to accumulate things over the year, and a lot of, because we have a hard time letting go.
Yes.
What
are you going to do with that stuff?
A lot of home sellers and home buyers, they're confronted with the question. They're like, if I'm going to go out and try to find a real estate broker, if they don't know one, what really sets you apart from other real estate brokers?
Well, it just so happens that for the last 13 years in a row, I've received an award. It's called the 5-Star Award, and it's from a local magazine called Chicago Magazine. And every single year they give this award out to the best realtors and best mortgage lenders that are in the business. And what's nice is that this select group of people have been vetted by this magazine. They have a source of people who vet these agents. And what they do is they're looking for people that have been given maybe wonderful reviews online. Maybe you'll find their reviews on Google, or their peers have given their review of this person and how it was to work with them. But less than 1% on average get this award each year. Out of, I think the numbers are, we have 51,000 realtors in the entire state of Illinois. In the Chicagoland area, there's about 43,000. And if you think about those numbers, to have less than 1% receive it, and I've received this 13 years in a row. And they've only been doing it 13 years. So there is something within how I provide service to my clients where I'm getting this recognition.
Well, that's outstanding. Consistency matters, too. You didn't do it just once,
yes,
but
it does.
13 times.
Yes.
I'm forecasting a 14th in your near future.
Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. We talk about marketing, and people think they don't really know what's involved in marketing their home and really getting it to where they're going to get the most dollar for that home. What do you do as far as marketing? What are some of the highlights you could hit on that?
Oh, I love this topic. This is where I shine because my background is in marketing. So I went to college for that. And anyone who knows me knows that one of the things that I love is taking someone who has an issue and say, how do we create the right setting for this product? And the product is the house, but how do we make that house shine amongst the competition? And the way that I do that is I have a questionnaire that I offer my clients, and I ask them to provide me room by room what they've done to the home. And if they've made improvements over the years, we want to take advantage of that because that's what we're wanting to market. They have the opportunity to brag. I want them to brag, because then I can take that information and I create a very nice custom feature brochure. And then I take that information and I break that down room by room. And I have wonderful feature cards that go throughout the house. What I get as response from realtors is they're like, Celeste, you make it so easy to sell the house because you're already telling us how old the roof is, how old is the furnace and the AC, and when did they put that shed in, and when was the last time something was serviced. I'm already understanding that's what they're looking for. So we kind of speak to the questions that we know that they might ask. And what's fun is even when you have spaces in the house that you would say, well, that's really not a feature. I'll have a feature card that says, by the way, buyer or realtor, don't forget when you look in the garage, turn to the left and see underneath the staircase because there's great storage if you've got fishing poles or skis.
That's where my stuff's at.
They love that.
Right.
They love that.
No, I think that's a great idea. And, you got to have that. That's, again, experience talking and having the insight to be able to. What other people see is just an empty space, you can see as an opportunity. Yes, exactly. Put some sizzle on it and see how other people might be able to use that space because you've seen enough homes how others have used it. So it's true. And I think that's important. Oh, Celeste, here's a scenario. I'm the buyer, and I'm looking at you as a potential agent to represent me. What is going to be your specialty in terms of what are you things you're going to do that are going to stand out for me as a buyer?
I take the assumption that any buyer that I'm working with, no matter how many times they may have bought or sold, they've never bought or sold with me. And when I do that, what I'm thinking ahead is I understand the stress that goes along with making good decisions. And how do you make good decisions if you don't even know what is the situation, what's the problem? So what I'll do with my clients is I walk them through the process in terms of what we have to do first, what's next, but I'm also letting them know in advance what is expected of them, so that they're not looking at me going, well, what am I needing to know? I'm telling them what I'm expecting of them beforehand. And then I'm also letting them know what they can expect of me. Because often people just don't understand how this process works. And knowing that someone doesn't do this every day like I do, one of the things that I'm looking for from them is their buy-in, that they're willing to work with me. Because together we're working as a team to make sure we get from today all the way through to the day of closing without any surprises. And my question back to them is always, you don't want surprises, do you? I don't think anybody does.
I don't like surprises.
Nobody
Not in the
does.
closing transaction.
No. So along with that, I actually use software that allows me that as we're going through this process, once we've gone under contract, I will add their timelines, their milestones to this software so that this software actually sends them an automated email a couple days in advance saying this deadline is coming up in 2 days. Just thought you should know. And then within that milestone, it actually will tell them if you don't think you can meet this event, this is what you need to know. This is who you should be talking to. Call me, call your attorney, but one of us needs you to call in advance of the deadline.
Right.
As long as you know
We mean
that,
an extension.
now you know what the rules are.
We still may need to motivate you to get that done anyway.
Exactly.
Even though you're saying
well,
you
we
can't.
can ask for extensions if we have to, but normally we try to go within our timelines.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
it's really easy.
That
I love what I get to do, if you haven't told.
I can tell your passion is for real estate. I love it. Well, Celeste, thank you so much for coming on the show today and sharing some of your knowledge with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This was great.
Yeah.